Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. Today's July 3rd, 2023, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning here in Yucatan, Mexico. It's been quite a while since I have gotten up in the middle of the night to do a video. I've had this information for a while now, and I've been really excited to be able to share this with you. But today I saw something that really sparked me to get this message out to you. I think you are going to be really, really excited and overjoyed and amazed at this information. And I do believe that we are onto something very, very powerful as we are looking at the 6-year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. I have a very, very powerful piece of information tonight. A 6-year sign from the man-child being hidden. The man-child being hidden for 6 years. And in the 7th year, the man-child gets crowned. The man-child gets crowned in the 7th year after 6 years of being hidden away. A few weeks ago, somebody sent this information to me through a comment in one of my videos, and he said that the 6-year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign makes a lot of sense based on this information that I'm going to be sharing with you, the information that he shared with me. And so I want to go over a couple things with you before I get into the biblical connection that comes out of 2 Kings chapter 11. Before we go there, let's look at Revelation 12 one more time, as we are all familiar with the Revelation 12 sign that happened on September 23rd, 2017. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. Okay, so the Revelation 12 sign is a sign of a woman giving birth, and then there's another sign in heaven. It says, there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Okay, so the woman is having a child. The child is going to be born, and the dragon wants to devour the child. Then what happens to the child? She brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. So as soon as the baby was born, the baby, which is a man-child, was caught up unto God and to his throne. Okay? Now, we have a 6-year anniversary coming up from 2017, the Feast of Trumpets on September 23rd. Now September 23rd going into September 24th and 25th is the Day of Atonement on the 6-year anniversary the Day of Atonement. Now, there is a story in 2 Kings chapter 11 about a baby being taken away and hidden for 6 years. And in the 7th year, the baby gets crowned as king when he's only 7 years old. And so we have a man-child. Okay, a man-child. Or a boy king, a man-child. Remember that the Revelation 12 sign, the man-child is represented by the king planet, Jupiter, that was in the womb of Virgo for over 10 months. And it's a man-child, and it's a boy king. 2 Kings chapter 11. And when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. So she was taking vengeance on all of the seed royal because her own son was dead. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain. She stole him away. Okay? Remember the word rapture is a stealing away, or a harpazo, which means to seize, to snatch, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain. And they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. So the baby was born, and they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. And he was with her, hid in the house of the Lord 6 years. He was hidden away. The boy child, the man child, the boy king, the child king was hidden away in the house of the Lord for 6 years. And Athaliah did reign over the land. And listen to this. And in the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched. Where have you heard that word before? Son, go fetch your bride. In the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds, and the captains and the guard, and brought them to him into the house of the Lord, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the Lord, and showed them the king's son. What's going to be happening in September? There's a big covenant being made just before the Day of Atonement. September 18th, there's a big covenant they're going to be making. In the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him into the house of the Lord, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the Lord, and showed them the king's son. Verse 12. And he brought forth the king's son, and put the crown upon him, and gave him the testimony, and they made him king, and anointed him, and they clapped their hands, and said, God save the king. And when Athaliah heard the noise of the guard and of the people, she came to the people into the temple of the Lord. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and blew with trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes and cried, Treason, treason. But Jehoiada the priest commanded the captains of the hundreds, the officers of the host, and said unto them, Have her forth without the ranges, and him that followeth her kill with the sword. For the priest had said, Let her not be slain in the house of the Lord. And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by which the horses came into the king's house, and there she was slain. And Jehoiada made a covenant between the Lord and the king and the people, that they should be the Lord's people, between the king also and the people. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal and broke it down. His altars and his images brake they in pieces thoroughly, and slew Mattan the priest of Baal before the altars. And the priest appointed officers over the house of the Lord. Verse 20, And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet. And they slew Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was Jehoash when he began to reign. 7 years old. He was hidden for 6 years from the time he was born. In the 7th year, they went to fetch all of the king's guards. And he was 7 years old when he began to reign. In the 7th year, they went to fetch the king, the boy who had been hidden away for 6 years. And here we have Revelation 12 talking about the birth of a baby, a man-child, a baby king who was caught up to God and to his throne. Now we're going to take a closer look at this word, fetch. And when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the royal heirs, but took Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole away him to steal away, 1589, to steal, actually stolen, brought to me stealthily, carries away, deceiving, fact, kidnapped, steal away. Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him away from among the sons of the king who were being murdered. Okay, so there was an assassination taking place. There was a slaughter taking place. And this baby king, who was going to be the next king, was stolen away for 6 years because all of the other royal seed were being murdered. With him and his nurse in the bedroom, and they hid him from Athaliah so that he was not killed. So he was with her in the house of Yahweh, hidden for 6 years, while Athaliah reigned over the land. And in the 7th year, sent Jehoiada and brought the captains of hundreds. This word brought in the King James is fetch. He called them and brought them. He fetched them. If we look up this word, Hebrew 39:47, lakach, is to take, to bring, or to take. And these are the meanings of to bring or to take: accept, bring, buy, capture, carry, caught. Caught as being caught up with God into his throne. Find, get, married, obtain, place, procure, receive, seize, to select, to supply, to take away, to use. Son, go fetch your bride. Son, go fetch your bride. And in the 7th year sent Jehoiada and brought, or to fetch, to seize, to take, to bring forth King Joash, meaning Jehovah given, also known as Joash or Joaz, was the 8th king of Judah and the sole surviving son of Ahaziah after the massacre of the royal family ordered by his grandmother Athaliah. His mother was Zibiah of Beersheba. Jehoash or Joash was 7 years old when he began his reign, and he reigned for 40 years. He is said to have been righteous all the days of Jehoiada the priest, but he deviated from fidelity to Yahweh after Jehoiada's death. According to the Hebrew Bible, following the death of his father, Ahaziah, Joash was spared from the rampages of Ahaziah's mother Athaliah by Jehoash's paternal aunt Jehosheba, who was married to the priest Jehoiada. After hiding him in the temple for 7 years, Jehoiada had Joash crowned and anointed king in a coup d'etat against Athaliah, who had usurped the throne of David. Athaliah was killed during the coup. After Jehoash was crowned, the covenant was renewed between God, the king, and the nation. The Tyrian cult of Baal, which was introduced under Jehoram and strengthened under Athaliah, was suppressed. Matan, the priest of Baal, was killed as altars to Baal were destroyed. For the first time in Judah's history, the temple in Jerusalem and its priesthood achieved national importance. So this is the story of Revelation chapter 12, about a baby being born and then being snatched away. And Jupiter is the king planet. So we have a man, child, who is also a king, who was born and snatched away, hidden away for 6 years, and in the 7th year, he was crowned. And the covenant was renewed under Joash. Now there's one more very important piece of information that connects all of this to 2023. This is 2 Kings chapter 12. This is exactly as we just finished reading 2 Kings chapter 11. Listen to what it says. In the 7th year of Jehu, Joash began to reign, and 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zibiah of Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Lord all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. But the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. And Jehoash said to the priests, all the money of the dedicated things that is brought into the house of the Lord, even the money of every one that passeth the account, the money that every man is set at, and all the money that cometh into any man's heart to bring into the house of the Lord, let the priest take it to them, every man of his acquaintance, and let them repair the breach of the house, wheresoever any breach shall be found. But it was so, that in the 23 year of King Joash, the priests had not repaired the breaches of the house. So the whole story about Joash coming into power and then repairing the temple, he gave orders in the very beginning of his reign to repair the temple and to repair the breaches in the temple. And he ordered all of the money to be raised for this. But it was so that in the 23 year of King Jehoash, the priests had not repaired the breaches of the house. So here we have a specific reference. After all of the connections we've already made with Joash in the 6 years from 2017 to 2023, now we have a direct reference to the 23rd year. Okay, well that's a bonus. That's a bonus with everything else we've already seen. So earlier today, I saw someone did a video, and the title on the video said, "The rapture is Jesus coming to fetch his bride." And as soon as I saw that word fetch, I knew that I needed to give this message, that the time had come for me to give this message, that I've been waiting to share this message for a number of days. But with everything that I have seen and I have shared with you over the past few days since Pentecost went past, and I was seeking the Lord, asking why we are still here, what is next, what do we need to, what have we not seen? The Lord began to show me the 6 years from the Revelation 12 sign, all of the signs that have pointed over many, many years to September 23rd and September 24th. So many things that we've seen over the years. And we have the Obama timeline that from his second trip to Israel on September 30th, 2016, when he was in Israel for the funeral of Simon Peres, to the beginning of the pandemic, there's 1,260 days. And from the day of the beginning of the pandemic to the Day of Atonement, there's 1,290 days. From the abomination being set up and the daily sacrifices being canceled, which was the closing of all the churches worldwide because of the beginning of the pandemic, no more large groupings of peoples, and especially all the churches had to close. The abomination set up and the daily sacrifices are canceled. From that day, 1,290 days to the Day of Atonement, just as it says in Daniel 12:11. So here we have the story of a boy king hidden away in the house of the Lord for 6 years. And in the 7th year was crowned. 2 Kings 11:3 and 4. And Joash was with her, hid in the house of the Lord for 6 years, and Athaliah did reign over the land. In the 7th year Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him into the house of the Lord, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the Lord, and showed them the king's son. Son, go fetch your bride. I pray you are all blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.